Eyes of the Oculus. Ivy sat on the cold floor, her back pressed against the crumbling wall, her breathing shallow and ragged. The darkness around her seemed to pulse, alive and suffocating, while the dim light flickered too brightly, searing her eyes. She tugged at the sharp, conical thing atop her head, what had once been a simple paper hat but was now something far worse. The material wasn't paper anymore. It had become hard, cold, and slick, fusing to her scalp like it was part of her. She tried to pull it off, but the roots of it ran deep, sinking into her mind. Across the room, an old pram rocked back and forth, its rusted wheels creaking under its own weight. From within, a faint, broken wail echoed out her baby's cry. Ivy turned toward the pram, but her vision blurred, the edges of her sight warping and distorting. Colors bled together, turning into a sickening whirl of light and shadow. She blinked hard, but it didn't help. She couldn't focus. She couldn't see clearly. Her fingers brushed against her eyelids, feeling the unnatural tremor beneath the skin. The cold, metallic voice of the Oculus filled the room, a voice like ancient stone grinding against itself. Still trying to see, Ivy. It spoke from the walls, from the floor, from the eye that had embedded itself into the plaster, a grotesque, swirling iris that dominated the cracked surface. "Leave me alone!" Ivy screamed, her hands clenching into fists, nails biting into her palms. "I didn't ask for this." But the truth hung in the air like a bitter taste on her tongue. She had called for it. That night, in her desperation, she had spoken the words from the old book, the one she'd found hidden in the attic. A ritual, a way to see beyond, to uncover the secrets of the universe. She had thought it was nothing more than a joke, a desperate distraction from her unraveling life. Now, the Oculus, the ancient eye that saw everything, that judged everything, was here, and it was feeding on her. The hat. It wasn't a hat. It was a fragment of the Oculus, a piece of the wall itself, now fused with her mind. It pulsated against her skull, a slow, rhythmic throb that vibrated through her bones. She tugged at it again, but it was useless. It had become a part of her, just as much as the eye that stared out from the wall had become a part of her vision. "I didn't mean for this to happen," she whispered, her words trembling in the silence. The cries from the pram grew louder, more insistent, but the pram remained where it was, rocking slowly, unnaturally, as though being pushed by invisible hands. Her vision shifted again. She closed her eyes, but the darkness behind her lids wasn't any better. The Oculus still lingered there, burned into her mind, ever watching, ever seeing. She couldn't escape it, not even in the depths of her own thoughts. "You wanted to see," the voice rasped again, deeper, more insidious. "And now you do." Her hands fell to her sides, her fingers scraping against the splintered wood floor. She remembered how this had all started. The sleepless nights, the endless crying of her baby, the fights with her husband, each one worse than the last. She had felt so alone, so trapped in a life that was slipping further and further away from her control. And then she had found the book, that old, dust-covered relic buried in the attic. It had whispered to her, promising answers, promising sight beyond the mundane world, promising clarity in the chaos. All it had taken was a candle, a simple chant, and the Oculus had come. At first, it had been subtle. A shape in the corner of her eye, a shadow where there shouldn't have been one. Then, the dreams started, vivid, terrifying visions of a great eye, always watching, always following. She had tried to ignore it, but it grew stronger and stronger, until one night, the wall itself had split open, and the Oculus revealed its full gaze. "I just wanted to know," Ivy muttered, pulling at the thing on her head again, feeling it pulse with life. I just wanted to see. And now you see too much, the voice of the Oculus whispered, wrapping around her like tendrils of smoke. Her vision blurred once more, the room spinning wildly around her. She could see everything, but nothing made sense. The walls rippled, their surfaces warping and bubbling, as if reality itself was being torn apart. The shadows in the corners of the room twisted into grotesque, shifting forms. She could see things that weren't supposed to be seen, things that slithered through the air, things that existed in the spaces between moments. And always, the eye remained. The Oculus stared at her from every angle, from every surface, watching, judging, consuming. I can't take it, she whimpered, curling into herself, her hands clutching her head, trying to block out the visions, trying to make the eye go away. I can't. You are not fit. The voice of the Oculus reverberated through the room, cold and final. You were never fit to care for him. Not with all the lies you've hidden from yourself. Ivy's breath hitched. Him. She looked toward the pram again, but her vision fractured like a broken mirror. The pram was both far away and impossibly close, the baby's cries echoing louder in her ears, sharp as knives. I can't see. Ivy screamed, crawling toward the pram on hands and knees. The floor beneath her seemed to stretch and twist like a living thing, but she pushed forward, inch by inch, her body heavy and sluggish as though she was being pulled into the ground. The eye followed her, its gaze boring into her back, hot and oppressive. She reached the pram and gripped the handle with trembling hands, but when she looked inside, she saw nothing. The interior of the pram was a void, an empty space where her child should have been. A black, yawning abyss. No, Ivy whispered, her voice breaking as she stared into the emptiness. Please. I didn't mean to. You are blind to him now, the Oculus hissed, its voice laced with contempt. As blind as you were to your own failings. Tears streamed down Ivy's cheeks as she collapsed beside the pram, her fingers slipping from its edge. The weight of the Oculus's gaze crushed her, pressing her deeper into the cold floor. Her mind was unraveling, coming apart at the seams, just like the walls around her. She had lost her sight. Not just her eyes, but her mind. Her ability to see reality as it was. The Oculus had shown her too much, and now it was taking everything from her, her sanity, her life, her child. I'm sorry, she whispered, curling into a ball as the last fragments of herself disintegrated into the darkness. I'm so sorry. The voice of the Oculus was the last thing she heard, echoing through the hollow chambers of her mind. Too late. And then, there was only the eye.